Hello friends and Albizu community. Today we're having a conversation with Dr. Nelson Soto, President of Albizu University, who is going to share with us his perspective on the institution. What should be the role of the university in a post-pandemic world?
I think we have to remember the origin of this university, and that was besides education, besides knowledge and besides information, the goal of this institution was always to give back to the community. Now in this post-pandemic world, more than ever, we need individuals who care and understand and could really focus on mental health. So as an institution that's a pioneer in mental health, especially in the space of psychology, we need to make sure that we're at the forefront of helping society in dealing with the pandemic and the aftermath of the pandemic. That is our focus, and we should continue moving forward in that area. Even post-pandemic, that will be our goal.
What will be your priority as a president?
Yes, as my priority, I just want to make sure we honor the founder's mission. The founder's mission was very clear, that we were to educate Latinos and anybody who had a touch point with Latin America to make sure that they had a cultural understanding of psychology and mental health awareness. So we will continue that here in Puerto Rico, in Florida, and beyond our boundaries where we're currently physically located.
Which was the key factor for you to take on the challenge of becoming Albizu's president?
You know, that's a great question because I was born and raised in Ohio, in a town called Lorain, Ohio. And you're probably going to say, okay, what does that have to do with Albizu? Well, Lorain, Ohio has probably one of the largest Puerto Rican populations per capita. A lot of the Puerto Ricans came in the 40s, 50s, and 60s to look for great opportunities. And my parents were one of them. So, you know, my dad left Yauco. My mom left Yauco when she was 18 to go to Lorain. So in that community, we were always taught that as Puerto Ricans from the diaspora, we are responsible to help the island no matter what. And so my way of giving back to the island is to do what I only know how to do, and that is to be a college administrator. And why not do it for the island, for my people, and continue to grow? So that's why I'm here, and I'm excited to be here as the 7th president of Albizu University.
How is today's college student different from the one 20 years ago?
So I'm part of that group 25 years ago. I don't want to date myself. So, you know, when I was looking for schools, cost was important, programs was important, but I was just looking for an experience, right? So I went to school 4 hours away because I had to stay within the in-state tuition price range. Right now, students have access. They could go anywhere in the world, but not so much that. They have access to content and materials. So really the role of the university is to say, what's the value proposition that we are going to provide that they cannot get when they just Google mental health or they Google some type of content knowledge. Our goal is to say we have professors and clinicians that understand the day-to-day realities of that field you want to enter, that you cannot get it by just Googling. It's the experiences that you're paying for, the connections and context to engage you and prepare you for your future aspirations.
And will you be promoting alliances or partnerships with other institutions?
This world that we live in right now, the pandemic, if nothing else had taught us, we are one society, one global society. And to assume that we can exist without alliances and relationships is a fallacy. We will foster relationships throughout the world, especially in Latin America, because the product that we have, the education we want to provide to the world, the need to cure mental health, if we could cure mental health illnesses, is not just for folks in Florida and Puerto Rico, it's for the world. In order to do that, we will have to create relationships with other universities, other entities, and just be part of that global society where we are going to engage with others to make sure that mental health continues to stay the top priority, and we provide content and knowledge to those who seek that information to be professionals in the field.
Tell me a little bit more about your background.
Sure. So, like I shared before, born in Lorain, Ohio. I'm very proud of being in Lorain, Ohio. Boricua de hecho, como digo, hecho nacido todo en Ohio. With that connection to Yauco, my family's from Yauco. I'm very proud of being, part of that diaspora that we're from the southern part of the island. It's that southern part of the island where I get my cultural values and understanding. Is from those little places in Yauco that we learn how to love, how to show love, how to care for others. And it's funny how that's translated throughout the Caribbean and went all the way up to Lake Erie, to Ohio, to third generations, and now raising our children and our nieces and nephews. So I was born in Lorraine. Parents came over when they were young. They're 18, 21. My mom actually graduated from the high school I attended. She didn't know any English at all. So Lorraine is a community of steel workers and at that time, auto industry. Those industries have died down, but that Puerto Rican community stays strong in Lorraine, and there's 2 or 3 generations of Puerto Ricans in that community, all because of this little island that we call Puerto Rico, La Isla de Encanto, that brought all those values over to the mainland.
Puerto Rico is no longer just the people who live in the island. How will you explain to your colleagues and your kids that there are thousands of Puerto Ricans making big contributions for the whole world?
I find it interesting. I was very fortunate that I was able to travel the world because of my father working in the airline industry. And I don't care what part of the world, if I was in Africa or if I was in Hawaii, there was always a Boricua around and doing great contributions, what you shared. And so, as we know, there are more than 6 million Puerto Ricans that live in the mainland or outside the island, and roughly 3 million here. Those 6 million had their starting point in this little islita, and we cannot forget about that. So to see the contributions that they're doing outside of Puerto Rico, it's amazing. My question is what this world would be like without a Boricua. I think we would have a different world. We are much better as human beings because Boricuas are in this world.
Yes, being Puerto Rican and being from the Caribbean, it's like, it's a difference, right?
Absolutely. That's actually why I'm here, and that's why Albizu will stay here for another 100 years, because what we do, we export excellent education, especially within the mental health fields.
And what do you usually think about before falling asleep?
First, I'm thinking I'm still a parent, so I want to check up on my kids, give them a little kiss, just making sure. I use the excuse that I want to make sure they don't have their earphones on or watching TV. I just want to make sure that they're okay that night. You know, nothing crazy is happening. And then by that time, I check emails one last time. It's a horrible habit, but I do sleep with my phone. And yeah, and then I say goodnight to my wife, and usually by that time I'm dead tired. I just go to bed and pray to God that I can wake up the next morning.
Yes, long days.
Long days.
I can only imagine. Is there anything else you want to share with us?
You know, the pandemic is what made me move to Puerto Rico. You only live once, and unfortunately we saw a lot of people die during the pandemic. I turned to my wife and I told her, hey, we have this opportunity. I've always wanted to give back to the island. This time I'm not giving back, I'm actually going to get paid. But I think I have some skills that really could help the island and beyond. Why don't we do this? We only live once. And I'm grateful for the move. I'm grateful for the people of the island that received my family and I look forward to staying here for a very long time.